there, I've got another interview with offline business, and this person here is actually located in Melbourne, Australia. So she's just down from where I am, down under in Sydney. So what I wanted to do with her was for her to describe a little bit more about and share with her story on how she got into an offline business and used virtual assistants to outsource. And her focus has been as well teaching people how to outsource and also sharing exactly how she finds people from all over the world to run her business as well. So let me introduce you to Lynn. It's a pleasure to be able to get you on here, and it's great to be able to also find someone in Australia as well to be able to share these really similar interests in terms of outsourcing, and also just share some ideas, because I'm no doubt a lot of the people on my subscriber list and also listeners would like to know a lot more about outsourcing. So for people who don't know you, share a little bit more about your background story, because I'm curious about that as well.
No problem. Well, I'm Lynn Hong, everyone, and I'm 27 years of age. Well, how I started with outsourcing is I was just a typical corporate girl about 3 years ago, working 9 to 5 for a defense company, you know, a good paying job. But I was always feeling very unchallenged, unfulfilled, and I knew I've always wanted to start a business. But at that point in time, you know, I didn't have any ideas about what sort of business I want to get into, or how to even start a business. But I guess my passion to start a business was so strong that I sort of just, you know, throw myself out there. And there was an opportunity that came to me, and I started a nail polish company. I have no passion in nail polish. I didn't know how to run a nail polish company, but you know, I had to, you know, just learn from from the get-go. So when I first started, you know, I knew that I needed a website, so I went out there and tried to outsource it locally. Yep. And then I got ripped pretty much, as in I spent $3,000 and didn't really get the website that I wanted. Then I came across outsourcing offshoring through odesk.com. Okay. And that's my first time that I outsourced, and surprisingly I also got ripped there as well, and I spent another $3,000 on there. And I did get a website, but what I realized later on is, you know, you've got a website, but how are you going to drive traffic there? What's next? You know, how are you going to grow the business? So I guess that's the journey where I end up, you know, outsourcing literally everything, because I didn't know how to do anything myself. So I was outsourcing SEO, outsourcing content writers. And I guess after, you know, years of just trying to master my own business and using outsourcing as a way to grow my business, I learnt the skill of outsourcing. And ultimately, you know, about a year ago, people started just asking me advice about their website, about SEO, and I didn't realize I had all these knowledge because of my own experience on my own business. And the skill that I had that they didn't was outsourcing. And so that's why I've just been outsourcing for people and getting paid to do the things that I learned through mistakes.
Excellent. Let's just take a step back. You mentioned that when you was working in a corporate job, then you took on a nail polishing business. Yep. What exactly is that? Maybe just describe a little bit more. Was it a physical store? Was it a website where we were selling nail polish? What was this?
Okay. So I think most people, when they want to start a business, they think about starting a business like starting a store, starting a retail. But usually people with limited money like myself, I thought, well, I can't open a store. I can't open a salon. I have to I'll open an e-commerce store. So I created a brand of nail polish. I stocked, you know, I bought bottles, I bought brushes. I did
everything there by sounds of it.
I turned my second room in my apartment into a storeroom, and I convinced myself that, don't worry, I'm going to be the next Body Shop. You know, I'm going to get rich. I'm following the steps of these cosmetic companies, and so I pretty much created the product and then, you know, uploaded onto an e-commerce site and try to sell the brand. And I really thought I was going to be successful because I thought everyone wears nail polish, you know, like I think I can sell it.
Except for guys, it's mostly women, right?
Exactly. Even then, it's really hard to sell to people because, even though it's a product you think everyone will use, business isn't as easy as that.
Definitely. And so why didn't you start your first journey? Because nail polish is a product that you can actually sell, say, like, for example, on eBay. Why didn't you go down that path?
I guess with eBay, I mean, I have like over 130 colors that I had to sell. And I guess I wanted to build a brand
Yeah.
as well. So I with eBay, people buy what they already know. I mean, if I had a established brand, I'm trying to sell a product on eBay, people are already looking for these products and I can sell it easily. But the brand is brand new to people. People
Yeah.
don't know what it is. So um, yeah, and I wanted to establish a premium Australian brand.
Yeah.
It was really good quality as well. So yeah, ultimately it did get to a stage where I had overseas interest.
Yeah.
However, I didn't do my research and realized and came a difficulty of postage, freight. It's a dangerous good product. I couldn't
Yes.
send, I literally couldn't send anywhere. Yeah, even sending locally Australia, it was sort of, I did it a little bit illegally.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that about nail polish. I didn't know. Oh, that's right. There is probably that. Yeah, now I think about it, I've seen some warning labels on it saying that you're not allowed to send liquids through the post. I
Yes.
think the only things that you're allowed to send through the post is alcohol, which is the wines and stuff. But even then, you need to have a license to do that properly.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
exactly. I didn't do my research, had no idea what I was getting myself into and came across all these things that I could have avoided. Yeah.
Hey, but that's a great story there because people can learn from you, and that's why it's great for you to share because I'm learning as well too, and I love
Yes.
to share these things as well. So after you set up your e-commerce site and you started your nail polishing company, from there onwards, you mentioned that you went on to Odess, and unfortunately, twice around you weren't successful in finding good people, staff.
Yeah.
But what encouraged you to keep moving on? Like, did you continue on with your nail polish business, or
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't believe in giving up, and I guess my desire to not go back to where I was so strong that I just had no choice. I keep on waking up every day and going, what's next? How can I get through this? And I even though I didn't make much money in the first year or so, I actually didn't make anything at all, but it was just everything around me was making it workable so that I could actually stay as an entrepreneur in terms of your personal circumstance. Everything sort of just work itself out so that I could still persist in being an entrepreneur.
yeah?
Yeah. So and then yeah, ultimately, like about a year ago was when I started making money because people wanted to pay for something that I was naturally good at.
Good on
Yeah.
you. I mean, that's really good. In that first year, though, as you mentioned, being an entrepreneur, trying to survive, trying to make money, and trying to really get the site out there. How
Yep.
did you survive, though? Because you mentioned that you also quit your job from the defense. What did you do to be able to sustain yourself in that period of time?
Yeah, well, so I was working and I saved up as well, and I was living with a boyfriend at the time, so I was making a bit here and there with the nail polish, not enough, but I guess like I said, it was just a circumstance. I was living with a boyfriend who supported me at the time, but by the time that I had enough money, we broke up. Then it's just all worked out. So
It worked out well for you.
yeah, he broke up. I was already a flourished entrepreneur. I knew how to make money.
Yeah.
So then, like I said, if you really want to do something, everything will just work itself out for you.
Definitely, and it
Yeah.
always works out that way as long as you keep persistent. That's
Yes.
what I
Yeah.
know about being an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. So
Yep.
from there onwards, the nail polish business, you continued on with that, and then you started getting clients who wanted to ask you to help them with learning. Was it learning about outsourcing, or wanting to help them with implementing the outsourcing systems?
Implementing.
Yeah.
So how it happened was, well, I still didn't know how to make money at that time. When I started running some entrepreneur networking events, and I came across some just other entrepreneurs who showed me their website and wanted some advice on it. I gave them the free advice and said, "Oh, this is what you should do. You should even go to Odess and hire these people for this much, and it's really cheap for you." So I gave them all that, and then they turned around and said, "Well, I don't have time. Can you do it for me?" So I said, "Okay, well, if I can do it for this much, and I outsource it lower than that, then that's how I'm going to make the profit." And I guess
Exactly.
that was when it hit me that this is what business is. It's
Yeah.
about adding value to people and then being able to get it done cheaper than you get paid for.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
think
So,
that's what business is all about. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
making the profit margins between. I mean, I can relate completely to your story because I used to also run an e-commerce site store.
yep,
In the first, it probably took us about 2 years or so to be able to get it up to where it was, and then I
yep,
sold it after that. But yeah, we realized after doing a few sales and stuff like that, it was really making the profit margin. And basically, from what I can gather, you basically are able to sell a service, and through that service, you can outsource it at a lower cost and therefore
Yep.
make a profit margin from there, which is
Yep.
awesome because that's how business is supposed to be.
Yes. I don't know why after 4 years of university they didn't teach you that, you know.
No,
Like
it doesn't.
they make it so complicated, you come out, you're still lost. So
Well, what did you do at university anyway?
yeah, I studied international business. So I had a general knowledge on everything from accounting, finance to marketing, to supply chain management. And so that's what my first job was in supply chain.
Yep. So you're pretty experienced in all those things in a corporate environment where you
Yes.
know all that kind of stuff. But I guess when it came down to running your own business, it's a completely ball game, isn't it?
Oh yeah, completely, completely. I mean, when you're working for someone, you're stuck in that role and in that department. You don't really get to see how the rest of the company works. When you own your own business, you're forced to wear all different hats.
Yes,
So you get an all-round skill and everything. So
exactly.
yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about where you're at the moment with
Yeah.
outsourcing. You mentioned that you've got clientele as well that you're outsourcing for. What kind of
Yep.
stuff do you do for them?
Okay, so we started off doing websites and designs.
Yep.
Then, obviously, because I actually got my first business to rank really high on Google through, a really great SEO guy that I hired. If you Googled nail polish at the time, my website would have won up on page one.
Yep.
So, I outsource that. I provide those services to clients as well. So whatever I use for my business, I outsource that. But lately we've been providing services such as ebook creation, video marketing, business plans. It's just unlimited amount of services because our model is run on the fact that we bring the solution to your problem, not that I know we find out your problem and then provide the solution.
Yep.
Not that we are a particular product or service company and we just force that product onto you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, because I think a lot of people, particularly the listeners and also viewers who watch this kind of video from here, they probably want to find out a little bit more about, firstly, how did you get started into finding the right people? Because I think the first thing, as you've even mentioned, twice you've tried it over to try and find people to find and do these jobs and complete these tasks. What changed? How did you get into the finding the right people?
Oh, okay. So, I mean, like anyone who starts outsourcing, what you do is you don't know what you're looking for. So you just look for the cheapest price and you just believe whatever people say to you on the application. But I mean, through making so many mistakes, I've created my own rules about how I can hire. So, for example, during the filtering stage, I would straight away look at their scores. Making sure that I don't really pick anyone under the 4 out of 5 star, for example.
This is on Odesk, right?
Yeah. So I've only really needed to use Odesk because I love the system where it's got, I guess it's got everything I've needed. I've never had to go anywhere else. It's very user friendly and navigation wise, it's just very clear.
Yep.
So I mean, it's like eBay where you can actually see the star rating. So I never used to know how to look at those factors. You didn't know what you don't know. So now.
Yeah.
So now the first thing I would look would be at the star rating. Then I would not just base on that, but actually read a bit about the comments that the past employers have said about them.
Yep.
And, I've made up my own rules about certain countries that I would avoid as well. And, even though once you filter to a few candidates, that's when you have to have an interview. So I would always have a Skype call or Skype chat.
Mm-hmm.
And, most importantly, I would always make them do a sample.
Yep.
So I don't always believe what they've given me, and I go, okay, well, when can you just do this little sample for me? And if the people that aren't willing to do it, then I think that they're not eager to get the job anyway.
Yes.
The ones that love to work with you, they'll go out of the way to do whatever it takes to prove themselves. So yeah, that's just a few tips.
Yeah, that's really good. And